Hey there, planner. It's Lucy. Thank you so much for joining my channel. I'm excited. I'm working on the last week of February, and we are almost in March, almost springtime. So I'm moving on. Regardless if it gets cold outside and it still snows, I am moving on to spring in my planner. I'm going to challenge myself this week to only use one sticker book. I'm going to use the Happy Planner Breathe, Live, Explore. And look at this book. Look at these stickers, these florals. I mean, these colors are amazing. We have mustard yellows, terracottas, various shades of green. They even added purple for a more pop of color. So my plan is to use these arched boxes here and actually put them in the center of my spread so they can look like flower petals. This is going to be a little tricky to create, so I really have to pull out these pages, cut around these boxes so I can visualize this a little bit better and also be able to move these boxes around the spread before I actually paste them down. So I think I can actually just fast forward through this step as I cut around all these boxes. Okay, so this step is done. I ended up with quite a few petals here, quite a few boxes. Now I'm going to organize them by color. I think when I lay this down on my spread, I want to make sure that I alternate the color for each petal. Here's a sample of what I'm trying to do. Laying out these petals, I can see that I may need probably about 6 for my first row of petals. And I do have quite a few boxes, so I should be able to also make a second layer of petals. This could be a little tricky to lay out on the spread and not mess this up. So I think what I'm going to do is fold the box in half, just slightly, so I have a little bit of a crease, and then I can use that crease line to line up with the middle of the spread. Oh geez, it's not centered. Do you see the very first box that I laid down? Not exactly in the middle of the spread. Even with all my planning, I didn't get it right, but that's fine. It's bugging me now, but I know once it's in my planner, I won't even be able to notice anything. So I decided to change my design a little bit for this first layer. Instead of using 6 of the boxes, I'm actually only going to use 4. And the reason for that is as I was starting to lay it out, it was just going to be easier to do the 4. And then with the 4, I could actually line up the corners of each box. So for my first layer, I will use 4, but then I will still do a second layer. And then my second layer will add the fullness that I want for my flower. Okay, one layer down. Now I'm going to start on the second layer. And I thought this was going to be tricky, but it wasn't bad. I'm actually going to line up these boxes in between the other petals. And then I'm going to have to use my X-Acto knife and cut around it. So I end up using that same trick I used before with the boxes. So I slightly fold this arch box in half just so I visualize the center. And then that center will line up with the corner. You can tell there is a box at the very center of the spread. So I use that corner from the box and I line that up with the crease in my arched box. Hopefully that makes sense. Then I use my X-Acto knife and a ruler and I cut around that so that the petal is actually behind the original petals. And I will go ahead and fast forward through this step. So the next step here is looking for some flowers that I can add to the center of my flower. I don't want that box there, and I thought it would be nice to just include a bunch of flowers, like a little bouquet of flowers right in the center. And of course, I use my X-Acto knife so I can cut around this. I just want my flowers to be confined to the center. So now that my flower is done, and I think that looks really nice, I'm going to start adding my boxes. And I think this week's spread will be box heavy. I tend to write a lot in my spread. I do some journaling, so I know I'll use up these boxes. And I just love the boxes in this sticker book. I mean, look at this. They have clusters already made for you. They have a lot of them with the pretty floral print and then the box on top of that. So I definitely want to use all of these boxes. And then they also have just the regular boxes with some pretty floral designs. Okay, look how pretty that looks, right? So the other thing this sticker book has that I like are these images here, these girls, and I thought I definitely need to add some of these to my spread. So I think I'm going to pick two of these. I just have to find the right place to add them. That looks so good. What a nice addition. So I'm also going to use this girl here, and I just love the color of her shirt. That purple is just so pretty. So definitely adding her to the bottom here to balance it out on the other side of the page. You know, it really wasn't that challenging to use one sticker book here. There's so much in this book, and I love these bold words here. I could have used any one of these and it would have looked good. I actually wanted to use more than one, but I ran out of room. So I decided on Dream, and I really love the way that looks. I had promised that this spread was going to be box heavy, so now I'm just looking at all the different boxes in this sticker book that I can add to the spread. And they have the prettiest boxes. I mean, look at this one with the prettiest border. I just love all the designs in here. I think the challenge for me is going to be to find a location to add these flowers. But what I can do is I can add it close to my flower and just make sure that I use an X-Acto knife so I can cut around it so it looks like it is coming from behind the flower. I just love the way that looks. And I just love clusters of boxes. Whenever I can, I do clusters in my spread. Okay, I think this is looking really good. The only box I'm not sure about is the one that's not clustered on Wednesday. Most likely I will be moving that. But let me move on to the sidebar. I decide to pick a bunch of flowers and border the sidebar with a bunch of florals. I think that will look really nice. So I use my X-Acto knife as well as a ruler to trim this out. I had looked at this box before, the one that says today with this terracotta color, and I really like it. I know it overlaps a few days, but I think it looks really nice here on the spread. So I'm just going to place this down and use my X-Acto knife to cut around it so that it looks like it's going behind my flower. I don't know about you guys, but I always white out this note section here with my Tombow. I know I want to do more to the sidebar, maybe add a long box since I will use that space for writing. But for now, I move on because I find these really pretty dots that I could use for bullet points. So I add a to-do section and I can't seem to pick one color and I decide, well, why not pick various colors, right? Because I just love all this color theme. So I go ahead and place the dots just alternating the colors. And I know this is a little off camera here. Hopefully you can see that I'm just placing the dots under my to-do list. Okay, I'm back to the sidebar. I found two boxes, a small one and a really long one that I could fill in this space. Not really sure what I'm using the small box for. I tend to have a reflection section, but I think this box is a little too small for that. But I go ahead and add it. I'm sure I'll find something to add here. And then I also add the long box. And I'm figuring that the long box I can use for my reflection. I find this cute little remember sticker, so I add that to the top of the small box. I'm not really sure what I'm going to remember yet for that week, but I thought that would be a nice way to separate the two boxes. Okay, you knew I would, right? I'm addressing that single box that was sitting on Wednesday. That lonely box needed to be moved. So it just made sense to cluster it down below. I think the colors look good together too. So I have my little cluster down here, but I still need a box for Wednesday. So I ran out of boxes. There were no more single boxes in the book. So instead, I cut around this green box here. There's a pretty cluster, but unfortunately, I have to break it up because I need a single box for Wednesday. I thought I was done, but I want to add more florals. There's still some empty space, and I found this really pretty bouquet of flowers. It's got this red, vibrant color. So I just need to pick a place for it, and there are two of them, so I can add it on the left side of the spread as well as the right side. It's really big, so I just need to use the X-Acto knife and cut around it. So the other addition is I found these leaves and I decide to add them to the very top of the spread. And I apologize, this is off camera. You'll be able to see it later, but I go ahead and border my spread with these leaves. The other addition is adding these quotes. They're simple quotes, things like be kind, dream big, seek joy, and I thought that would be a nice addition to the spread. So I'm just looking for space to add these quotes. Okay, you probably thought I was done. I thought I was done, but I decide that it would be nice to add additional flowers to the center of the spread. So I'm just going through the sticker book. I'm doing some sticker surgery, finding the right florals to add additional detail here. Okay, this is exciting. We are at the very, very last step. I just need to grab my crocodile hole puncher and punch out these holes so that I can add the spread to my planner. So we are done. This looks really good. What do you guys think? I just love that the center, the focus of the spread is this huge flower in the middle. And then I just love all the boxes. I love the colors. It's so vibrant. I think it's the perfect spread for the last week of February as we enter March and almost spring season. So you're probably wondering, what do I plan to do with these petals in the center of my spread? And I'm actually going to capture my gratitude. I always include a weekly gratitude in my spreads, and I thought it would be nice to have it front and center in the spread this week. Thanks so much for joining. This was a lot of fun to make. Thanks for coming on this little journey with me. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I do like the end result, and I'm excited to write in this during the week. Leave any comments. Let me know how you've gotten creative with your boxes. Thanks everyone for joining. Have a great week. Talk soon. Bye.